Hey, welcome to A Game for Your Thoughts. Today we're talking about Batman Arkham Asylum. Batman Arkham Asylum was developed by Rocksteady Studios and was one of the first kind of games of its style, and it really sparked a really new superhero game revolution. And it kind of is one of the best of its genres. Batman Arkham Asylum was a really big deal for the superhero video game genre. Just was nothing ever like it. So let's talk about it. The story of Batman Arkham Asylum follows Batman after he captures the Joker, and he brings him to Arkham Asylum. But when Joker gets into Arkham Asylum, he breaks free and he springs his trap and realizes that it was all planned all along. He wanted to get captured. Now he's in Arkham, and he teams up with Harley Quinn and a lot of the other supervillains to take over this asylum, free all the prisoners, and kind of just take over and go for a bigger master plan. So it's up to Batman to go around, stop the inmates, and put a stop to Joker's ultimate plans. Story-wise, this game was pretty sweet, and the biggest thing, I remember when I very first played it, this game was a lot darker than I actually thought it was going to be. I mean, it's a T-rated game, but in the end, I feel like it tells a pretty dark and violent story. I mean, it's got a lot of really eerie moments, and you're walking around the halls, and there's like dead bodies and like mutilated things going on. You're like, that's pretty dark. Pretty dark. Don't know if I like it, but it's cool. I really enjoyed the characters of this game. Batman and the Joker particularly, they do a really great job of complementing each other, and they kind of are really awesome when they're on screen together, the way they just kind of interact, and it's just very like their characters, and it's probably some of the best versions of these characters. Well, a lot of like the gameplay and the bulk of this game is exploring and combat, kind of going around the island. There were minimal story moments, but I feel like the story moments that we did get were really entertaining, and I feel like I kind of always had this goal in mind. Even though at one point the Riddler shows up and starts placing puzzles and a lot of distractions all over the place, I found myself going out and doing these distractions, but I still knew what I was doing, I knew where I was going, and kind of always had that main objective in mind, and I really appreciated that. One thing I have to for sure give praises to is the voice acting. Everyone in this game kills it. A lot of the voice actors come from the animated series, so it totally makes sense. They're voices you've recognized if you watch the show, if you're familiar with the characters. You're going to really like it. But particularly Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill kill it. Mark Hamill as the Joker is just seriously like one of the best. I love Mark Hamill's Joker, and he does a fantastic job here. He does a great delivery of the character, and it just really stands out. And it's just a very excellent way of voice acting. They all just do really great. I can't think of a single person that I was like, wow, that was pretty lame. There was even one side character in particular that had like one line, but it was delivered so well that I just get really enthralled in it. It was really awesome. All in all, the story of this game is pretty sweet, though I will say the ending definitely kind of took like a turn that I didn't really expect. It kind of fits, and it's like fine. It kind of goes along with what had happened up to that point. Of course, for spoilers, I won't say anything, but just for me, it kind of just definitely seemed like it came out of left field, and I was like, oh, didn't see that coming, but it works, I guess. I don't really know. It just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But when I really think about it, I can't really think of any other direction they would go. Like when I think of like the story and where it was going, I don't really know what else would have happened besides what happened because I know what happened. It's confusing. But the game didn't really pan out the way I thought it was going to, especially at the end, kind of leading to the final boss fight. I was like, I didn't see that coming, so that's good, I guess. The gameplay of Arkham Asylum kind of splits into two things. There's like exploration and puzzles, specifically like the Riddler stuff, and then also the combat. So first off with exploration, this game is a pretty like claustrophobic game for like, action adventure game. I feel like this game is very like crammed, and it's not necessarily linear, but it does a very good job of kind of making you feel very small. You feel very tight. Even when you get out into the open island, like you're like, oh cool, like opened up a little bit more, but I still very crammed. Not limited. I would say limited is not the right word because that makes it seem like a bad thing, but I feel like it does a really great job of kind of setting that tone and that atmosphere because of this cramped feeling of kind of claustrophobia, but not claustrophobia like it's too tight, but like claustrophobia is like, oh wow, this game is not as open, specifically looking at like the later games, but it's kind of, I don't really want to compare this to the later games, kind of looking at this at like a singular like Batman Arkham Asylum, not comparing it to all the other ones. So like Batman Arkham Asylum itself, very cramped and like tight game. One thing that is really cool is you have all these gadgets and things you can use to get around the island. For example, you have like this explosive gel that you can spray on walls and stuff to blow it up. Or you have like a grappling hook you can use to reach higher places. Or you have a zip line you can use to get across wide gaps. Different things like that that you can use to your advantage to explore. And I really like this as it kind of gives you a little bit more freedom, a little bit more variety of ways of going around besides running down hallways and like jumping back and forth across gargoyles, things like that. It was really cool, and it just made for some really entertaining exploration. And you do want to explore the world because the Riddler has placed Riddler trophies and these like visual riddles to around the world, and you got to find these to get XP. And also they're just really fun kind of distractions, and they're kind of in your way, but like hidden in your way, so you got to kind of explore a little bit to find them. And if you find them all, you get a really cool like secret ending. So I'd absolutely recommend going and finding all the trophies. It's really cool, and it's a really good distraction. A lot of them are really clever and make a really good use of the environment and some of the tools you have. One of the best things to come out of the Riddler trophies and secrets and stuff like that is you get character biographies, and it's really cool because there's a lot of like cool references to Batman villains and characters and stuff like that. And finding them is really cool, and just some of them are really really clever too. And it's like, I see what you did there. That was smart. Really, really smart. But they lead to really cool biographies. You can kind of read about the characters and kind of what they're all about, and like when their first appearance was, and it's like Detective Comics number 25, year 1979. You're like, oh, way cool. I didn't know that character was that old. Just kind of fun things like that. And certain ones even have interview tapes that you can kind of read up on and see like where they are at starting like in the game. You're like, oh, that's why Poison Ivy's there. You know, things like that. It's really cool and entertaining, and I thought it was a fun little feature. Batman Arkham Asylum uses what I call the Batman Arkham formula, and it's kind of used in a lot of other games. You see in like Shadow of Mordor, you see it in a lot of Spider-Man games, and a lot of other superhero games actually use it too, but it really all started with Batman Arkham Asylum, as far as I'm aware of. There might be some other game that uses it, but Batman Arkham Asylum was the game that really just like put it in the mainstream, and it works really, really well. It's a very solid formula. It's very basic. You have an attack, a counter, and then a few other little gadgets and things you can use there, but the biggest is this attack counter simplicity. And the reason it works so well is it's so simple, but it flows really well and makes you feel very powerful. But it also throws a few things at you here and there to make it a little bit more difficult, so that it's not just attacking and countering. Once you do get really good at the system, and it is a little bit mundane and kind of like straightforward, it isn't that difficult, it's still enjoyable. It still makes you like, oh yeah, I totally just kicked that dude right in the face, then broke his leg. I'm Batman. It was pretty sweet. Out of like the fist-to-fist fighting, you have the Predator section. The Predator sections are actually some of my favorite Batman Arkham moments and sections. So these Predator moments really let Batman explore a room. You're moving around silently, trying to take out heavily armed guards, and if you don't, they're going to shoot you down and take out a lot of your health. So you got to move around the room, use your resources, and use the environment to your advantage to take these guys out. And it's a very clever moments and systems, and it really does a good job of making you use the environment to your advantage and makes you feel like the Batman. The game does have a few boss fights peppered here and there, but the biggest bummer is they are basically all the same thing. They just throw a few little different things at you, more enemies, different environments, things like that. But it all generally runs the same way. The only biggest thing is the final boss fight is the only one that's different, but it's kind of the same, but different. It's all generally the boss fights you could kind of group together, and it's like, it's the same thing. And it was a bummer because I think you could have had a lot of room to make some really creative boss fights. And so it just was kind of a letdown to kind of see them all just very similar, kind of the same thing, and I wouldn't have minded seeing some more variety. But thank goodness we have Arkham City, am I right? One last gameplay thing I really wanted to touch on were like specific set pieces. Specifically, the Scarecrow moments were really, really cool. I don't want to say too much or show too much back here because I think these moments are really cool and you need to experience them for yourselves, just the way they're presented. Another moment that I really enjoyed was Killer Croc's lair. That was a really awesome, high tension filled section that I really, really enjoyed. Like I said, I don't want to say too much for spoiler stuff because they're some of the best moments of the game. I won't show too much back here, but just stuff that I thought was really, really cool that I just wanted to shoot some praise at. Graphically and technically, this game looks and runs pretty sweet. It does have like a kind of cool comic booky like grain to it, so it definitely has like a cool darkness to it, and it looks pretty sweet too. Like you're walking around, but you know what the biggest bummer is? The detective mode. The detective mode is so useful and helpful, but it really kills a lot of the graphicness, of the game. It looks really awesome. The environments are really, really cool and detailed, but you're going to spend most of the game in the detective mode, and it kind of sucks. But it's cool because the detective mode is really helpful. It's just kind of a bummer because they crafted and created a really cool world, but instead you're going to spend all your time in the detective mode, which just kind of sucks, because it's really cool, because it's like, oh, I need the detective mode on so I can see where guys and things are, but then I can't see this really cool world that they created, which sucks because it's such a bummer because they just spent all this time working on this world, but I'm just going to spend all my time in detective mode, which sucks because I want to see this really cool world they created. So it's kind of a weird trade-off, I will say, though, there is a lot of texture pop in. It didn't particularly bug me, but it's something to keep an eye on if you're really big, like, ooh, I don't like texture pop in. There is quite a bit of that there, so just kind of take note of that. In the end, I really enjoyed my time playing Batman Arkham Asylum. It's such a really cool game. It has a really interesting story that keeps you intrigued with really awesome voice acting, and it just really lets you kind of just have fun in a Batman world and a Batman story. Like I said, voice acting, Mark Hamill kills it, Kevin Conroy kills it. It does a really good job. And then the gameplay is really awesome with the puzzle exploration, and also the combat does a really good job. I love the Predator section. It allows you to have some freedom. But in the end, I think the biggest thing is, I think this game is really rad for people who don't even like superhero games. I would recommend this game to someone who's like, I hate Batman. It's like, you would actually probably still have fun with this game because the game itself is just a load of fun to play. It does a really great job of the exploration, the combat. It all just is very accessible to the general gamer. You don't have to be a diehard superhero fan. You don't have to be the biggest Batman fan in the world to enjoy Batman Arkham Asylum. So yeah, in the end, I think you absolutely should check out Batman Arkham Asylum. It's a really rad game that I think you absolutely would enjoy, so go and check it out. Hey, thank you so much for watching my review on Batman Arkham Asylum. I actually played this game here on YouTube. I have a whole playlist for it, and you're probably actually just finishing up the playlist here, so thank you so much for watching me play it. And if you haven't watched me play it, go watch me play it. It was a lot of fun. Actually, probably one of my most favorite series I did. It was really enjoyable, had a lot of really great conversations, a lot of really funny moments, so go and check that out. That'd be awesome. And if you want to check out more stuff here, you can actually help me out a little bit more and like, subscribe, and hit the bell to get notified every time I post a new video. That would be awesome. And actually, while you're down there in the comments, let me know what's your favorite Batman Arkham game. I'm kind of looking to review all of them, so keep an eye out for that. And if you want to check out more of my stuff, head over to twitch.tv/agameforyourthoughts. I'm streaming there all the time, and I'd love to see you there. So thank you so much for watching the video, and we'll catch you guys next time on A Game for Your Thoughts. Thanks for watching.